Hey, welcome to SI Now. It is Thursday, February 16th, and I'm Maggie Gray.
And I'm Matt Stryker.
Coming up on today's show, tennis star and SI Swimsuit model Genie Bouchard pays off her bet with a fan, and the Patriots faithful relive the most awkward moment from Houston.
All right, but we begin with a boiling controversy in the NBA. Golden State Warriors forward Draymond Green had some very powerful words to describe the mentality of New York Knicks owner James Dolan in a recent interview. Have a listen.
Why is it all of a sudden a problem now when he speak out on something that he don't like, and now you want to disown him from your entire organization? That's a slave mentality. You're doing it for me, it's all good. But now you're doing it against me, or not necessarily against me, but you're speaking out against my organization. It's not good anymore. That's a slave mentality, slave master mentality. That's ridiculous.
That was Draymond Green on his Dre Day podcast. Let's welcome in Rob Parker of FS1's Undisputed. Rob, of course, Draymond Green entitled to his opinions, but was that characterization of James Dolan going too far?
I think, good morning, guys. I think what happens often is whenever people hear the word slavery, it's an immediate rejection of what's being talked about, and kind of that takes over from what the issue was. So that will always be put up to debate whether or not you could equate anything other than slavery to slavery. You understand what I'm saying? So absolutely. I get that, why some people will reject that immediately and not want to deal with it. But I think what Draymond Green was saying is correct in that the imagery of what we saw at Madison Square Garden was that of something that was painful to watch, something that brought back some horrible memories for people, in that here's Charles Oakley, a successful former pro basketball player, college-educated black man in a suit who used to make his living diving for loose balls and diving in the stands at this very place, is now $1 million mop being dragged across the floor in that same building because the owner, who happens to be white and owns the building and owns the team, doesn't want him around anymore. And I think that was the part that, when you think about what went down, was so troublesome to so many people. And it's amazing that some people have not understood that the imagery is very powerful in this case.
You know, Rob, that sentiment, that feeling of disrespect, is that something you've heard from other players when it comes to the relationship between either current or former players and owners and management?
Absolutely. That is disrespect from the standpoint of there's just no way that could be handled in that way. Even if James Dolan doesn't want Charles Oakley in the building, I don't know if you send 6 or 8 security guards to his seat to remove him and not think you won't have some sort of altercation. Charles Oakley is a very prideful man, just like a lot of guys who looked at that situation like as a threatening situation, not only to himself, but to his to who he is. And I think that's the part that Charles Oakley was going to defend and fight for in that moment. And I think that's what people have to understand. It's hard for me to believe that some other former player would have been treated in such a vein from this standpoint that they're physically being removed from a building instead of sending over a real ambassador to go talk to Charles, and express that the owner doesn't want him there, doesn't want him in the building. But that should have been done behind the stands at Madison Square Garden, not out in the public on national television. And I think it was humiliating, and I think a lot of people, fans, former players and whatnot, are really bothered by what they saw and how that went down.
I tip my cap to you, something you said at the outset here about the responsibility and the accountability of the words that athletes choose to use. Now, you were ahead of the curve with your article that you wrote 3 days ago. What are your thoughts on the power of Draymond's statement and its potential impact on the entire league?
I think they're powerful. I think people will take another look at it, and I think some players will take a look at it. And it's from this standpoint, if you're a player, and I understand people think that if someone's paying you millions of dollars, you don't care, and you'll just take the money and you'll do whatever you want. But if I'm given the opportunity between two teams, and one is the Knicks, and one is another team, and their owner hasn't acted in this vein, and you say to yourself, Charles Oakley gave everything he had for 10 years to that organization, whether James Dolan was the owner at the time or not does not matter. When I hear people say that, it does not matter. He wore that Knick uniform, and he played for the city of New York. And he's a fan favorite because everybody knows that Oak gave his best and his all every single night to try to win a championship for that city. I think that if I'm a player, especially a black player, I'm going to take a look at this guy, and I might say to myself, if he could do that to Charles Oakley, what will he do to me when I'm no longer can play or not worth anything to him? And I wouldn't want to sign with that guy, or I would think to myself, I would never want to play for the Knicks as long as James Dolan is the owner. And I'll tell you this, if I'm Charles Oakley, and I know the commissioner tried to make peace between the two, I could never sit by James Dolan at a game ever again. That doesn't mean I might not come back to Madison Square Garden, but I could never bend and give in to what was done to me, how he was humiliated on national television.
Yeah, Rob, I'm just going to jump in here because you're basically making this point. I mean, James Dolan is now being painted as a racist by Draymond Green. If you are Adam Silver, is this another instance where he needs to step in?
Well, it depends on what the other pushback comes from other players. As you saw, the Donald Sterling situation, and I'm not saying that James Dolan is a racist. I think what he did, and again, it's an imagery thing. You got to look at how people see it. Not always what might have been his intention. If his intention was, I don't want Charles Oakley around, but I just don't think that you can just. There's a degree of respect that you have to give the players as a fraternity, and think about what your actions do as you move forward as in ownership. And I don't think James Dolan thought about that when he sent his henchmen over to throw Charles Oakley out of the Garden. I don't think he thought about that and what it would look like. And I think that's why the commissioner called him in to try to be peacemaker, because he knows that this could fester. And the Knicks might be the ones hurt down the line when it comes to people joining. So when you say the commissioner joining in, I don't know. There's a Players Association, and maybe some players start to voice and say they would never play for James Dolan, and they won't take his money, and they won't go there. Then you have an issue of a franchise that could be hurt and have a stigma to it. So I think the commissioner has to make sure that he handles it in the right way so that it doesn't turn into that.
Very interesting to see what happens as the NBA world descends on New Orleans for the NBA All-Star Game. Rob Parker of FS1's Undisputed. Really appreciate your thoughts, Rob. Thanks for joining us.
Yes, thanks a lot, guys. Have a great day.
All right, you too.
Be safe.
All right, let's change topics, shall we?
Please,
because
my gosh.
Turns out that the Patriots' historic comeback in the Super Bowl didn't just seal a victory for Belichick and Brady. No. It gave one man the date of his life. Round of applause for John from the University of Missouri. He was the fan that tweeted to tennis star and swimsuit model Genie Bouchard, betting her that if the Pats came back from a 25-point deficit to win the Super Bowl, she would agree to a date with him. Now, Genie stopped by yesterday, and I had a chance to ask her about it. I'm here with the 44th ranked tennis player in the world, also one of 3 tennis stars in this year's Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue, Genie Bouchard. These photos are insane. What did Caroline Wozniacki and Serena Williams tell you about being in this issue?
I talked to Caroline after when she was in it last year with the body paint, and we just talked about how crazy that body paint was. Yeah, we were both doing it in Turks, not at the same time. I didn't see her over there. But such an honor for me to be in it. I'm honored to be a part of this group of girls, this group of athletes as well. It's really exciting.
What a nice break from life on tour. You get to go to Turks and Caicos and take part in something that I imagine you've never really done before.
Yeah, that's definitely the first time I've done more of a bikini sexy shoot, and for sure the first time I've posed topless. So that was different for me, and that was the first shot at 7 a.m. as soon as we got out to the beach. All right, no top, you're taking it off. I was like, okay.
It's like no getting to know you, no coffee, no pleasantries, just off at the top.
Straight to it. And that actually helped my nerves, because after that it was like, well, you know, they've seen everything, so, you know, I just became comfortable with the photographer and the camera crew and everyone.
I have to ask you about something from the Super Bowl. Now, like everyone,
I wonder what.
You believed that the New England Patriots were going to lose that game, so you made a bet with a fan that you would go out on a date with them if the Patriots came back and won.
I did.
Now the Patriots pull off this incredible comeback. Tell us about this date. When is this going down, and are you regretting that you made this bet?
Let it be known that I did make this bet when it was 28-3 for the Falcons. So, you know, in my head, there was no way the Pats would come back. So I said sure to a fan, you know, obviously assuming nothing would come of it. And then lo and behold, as soon as I did that, it's like I tempted fate, and the Pats started coming back. And, you know, I want to honor my word and stay true to it, so I'm going on that date, and that's actually tonight in New York City.
I mean, you look fantastic. You're ready for a date. This lucky man, John, who's a college student, right?
Yes.
What do you guys have planned?
We're going to go to the Brooklyn Nets game, take in some basketball. I think that'll be...
Tough icebreaker.
I think
the team does a little better.
I think that'll be less awkward than just a one-on-one, you know, dinner date. And yeah, he's flying in this afternoon, so I look forward to meeting him tonight. And I hope he enjoys it, and I hope it's not too awkward.
Are you looking forward to this at all? I'm sure you get asked out on dates constantly. Is this something that you really want to do?
It is. You know, after all the media attention it got, it was something I, first of all, could not back out of. There was no chance. I was worried, however, when I looked at his Twitter profile as soon as I lost the bet, and his profile picture was a picture of Tiger Woods. I was like, it's one of those, you know, Twitter fans. I don't even know what he looks like. What is going to happen? But turns out he seems to be a very nice boy. He goes to the University of Missouri.
Okay, well, the big date happened last night, and it appeared to be a wild success.
Hi, guys. So I'm in the car right now, and I just met my date, John.
Hi, what's up?
This is my Super Bowl Twitter date, and so we're going to the Brooklyn Nets game tonight. We're going to watch some NBA, and it should be super fun. We'll let you know how it goes. Are you excited?
Very excited.
He's excited. The date going, John?
Very good. Best date I've been.
Oh my God, ever? We're at the game. He's not used to Snapchat.
I'm not going to lie, they're adorable together. I think there's a real match here.
He seemed a little nervous, though. And it's funny,
Wouldn't you be?
You said when you were looking at pictures earlier today, it was like, he appears normal, as if that's all it seems to take in the world of social media dating, huh?
You just have to be normal. All right.
That's it. So that's
that
what it is.
striker, a man who is not short on getting dates on social media. Have you ever taken a woman up on a date?
I've had some Twitter dates. I've slid into a few DMs in my time. I will not lie. But listen, it's the way of the world.
Striker.
Well, yes, always. Please swipe right. But it's the way of the world. Kudos to this kid. It's fantastic. Gives inspiration to every college kid everywhere. Tweet Maggie. She's married,
I'm married.
but tweet her.
You know, I'm going to invoke Wayne Gretzky here. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Good on that guy.
All right, well, Maggie, a good first date can lead to great things, even marriage. Yesterday, you caught up with 5-time SI Swim model Hannah Jeter to talk about her relationship with arguably the most famous athlete in New York, number 2, Derek Jeter,
nice.
And what it's like to have to share him with the city that loves him.
You thought that he was a pitcher when you first met him. You did not know that he was the legendary shortstop for the New York Yankees. Do you feel like he appreciated that maybe you weren't so familiar with his baseball career and you were only looking at him as a man, not a baseball icon?
For your average person, when you meet someone, you don't, you know, whether it's love at first sight or you're just meeting a friend or a coworker, you don't have Google's information. You don't know anything about them. And so it's really a first impression, and that's what it was for me, at least. So I think that sure, I'm sure that was refreshing. I hated it in the beginning. It was really, really hard for me. You don't want to feel like you're getting to know them in the limelight or along with the rest of the world. So the way I sort of coped and dealt with it for years was compartmentalizing the baseball, because then I felt like then I had my Derek.
Okay, that's not all you're going to see from our interview with Hannah Jeter. There's going to be more in the days ahead, but you are a Yankee fan-ish, New Yorker. You learn anything about Derek Jeter by hearing his wife talk about their relationship?
What I liked, as a pro athlete that has spent my life on the road, I liked that Derek had the foresight to wait till his career was over and all the perils of the road to now pursue marriage and a family. That's in the exact same position that I'm in right now. Now I'm ready to start my life. Now,
so tweet Matt.
Well, but you know, all kidding aside, it's so smart, because if you think about it, the road can ruin relationships. So I admire what Derek is doing and the respect that he's showing to his potential wife and now his children. I'm going to give you all of me, Derek the man, not Derek the ball player. So that's what I found to be exciting, and it only serves to reinforce that Derek Jeter is a fantastic human being.
Well, listen, we wish you all the best of luck finding your own swimsuit model, Matt Stryker.
Oh, okay.
She's out there, buddy.
Well, keeping with the theme of relationships, it is being called the moment. Amidst all the controversy of the blow-up or deflation of the Tom Brady suspension to start the NFL season, Commissioner Roger Goodell was under pressure, or PSI, as he handed the Super Bowl trophy to Tom Brady in front of the world in a moment that Patriots fans will remember forever.
Look at that guy. Like, first of all, for having that much money, you got to get a new barber. Terrible haircut.
This picture pretty much encapsulates what Boston stands for. We're going to keep winning. We're going to move on. We're going to start thinking about next year, where the rest of the world pretends to like us and still hates us because we're killing them.
It reminds me of the end of like a war, like World War II, when he signed a treaty, the losing country just to show up and plaster a smile on their face. Like, your entire world just got caved in by Brady.
He has to be thinking like, I hope I don't have to do this again next year.
I kind of want to tape it to my ceiling, so when I wake up in the morning, I can just look at it.
This is a masterpiece. This beats any Picasso. This beats any Van Gogh. You give me any artist, and this is the best piece in the world.
It looks forced, like it's killing him. Like someone should hold up his cheeks.
This sucks. I hate this. I'm gonna fake smile because this is the worst feeling of my life.
I think he's actually really loving this moment right here, because he really tried to take the high road.
Because you're the bigger man, literally.
I think his face says it all. He's just giving a flat-out big you right to Goodell.
I wish Brady took this football and smashed it down his eyeball.
I wish I could just put this hat on him. How great would that be? If you guys can like make that work in post and get this little hat just sitting right on this jerk's head.
He's a little rat. Like, you got to play the Jack Nicholson and The Departed, being like, there's a little gnawing rat. That's him.
He's probably thinking, I wish I sent my assistant to hand him the trophy, but I got to kind of sack up and do it. And I created this mess, and this is what I get.
Where's he from? Where's Goodell from?
I don't know, but he's got a house up in Maine that gets egged all the time.
Don't tell me where it is in Maine. I got a house in Maine, too.
I gotta say, for fans of a team that just won the Super Bowl, they still seem a little bitter, no?
It seems, I think Boston fans as a collective have gotten very cocky right around 2004, and it's kind of just start to pull out. But I love Goodell's face. That's the face I have in most social situations. Hi, I'd rather be home playing
Wait, I thought you loved being here. I thought this was like the best.
This is intimate, you know. But I enjoyed that, and one of the fans brought up something interesting about body language.
Yeah.
There's a picture from, I think it's Potsdam or Yalta, whatever it was, World War II, and psychologists analyzed how Winston Churchill was sitting and where he placed his hat on his lap. If you look at that picture, Goodell is looking at Tom Brady, saying, gosh, I hope everyone else is looking at Tom Brady and no one is looking at me. Tom is looking out at everyone going, everybody look at this guy. So, I mean, just amazing. Great piece, by the way.
Yeah, fantastic job by Zach. I just feel like, Pats fans, you won. You won. Scoreboard. I mean, look at it. You've got it. Goodell looks like a complete jerk. You guys won. Brady looks like a hero. Right off into the sunset.
For all we know, Roger Goodell's probably a great guy. He's just in a bad position, and hopefully this is in the past now. And
not for Pats fans.
And the league can just start to move forward. As in all the sports that we're talking about today, just the leagues themselves need to move forward to positive things, not negative things.
I mean, do you think Roger Goodell could ever make it better for Pats fans? I mean, listen, they just won. Brady
Belichick much better.
Brady and Belichick just won their 5th Super Bowl, and that was the reaction from Pats fans just days later. Can Goodell do anything?
That speaks more to society than anything else. And you know what? Give the Pats fans, let them have their fun.
Oh, of course.
Enjoy it. Go right ahead. But at some point, be bigger, be sportsmanlike, and let's move on.
Even Brady said, you can't let the negative thoughts get in your head. That's when you give other people power. Ooh. Isn't that a mantra that you have also?
That's a good one. I like that one. Well, folks, that is going to do it for this Thursday edition of SI Now. I will be back tomorrow with Ryan Aselta at 10:30 a.m. Eastern. We'll have more from the SI Swimsuit issue and look back at one of Michael Jordan's most memorable moments. Until then, stick with SI.com for all the latest news, and don't forget to follow us on Twitter at SI Now Live. Send me a DM, and have a great day.
Slide into the